All right, let's dive right in. Picture this: Chittagong Port. It's Bangladesh's busiest seaport, a place where the global supply chain is always, and I mean always, on the move. For these massive cargo ships you see, time isn't just money, it's literally everything. So what happens when one of these giants needs to refuel and resupply, but they can't afford to stop?
Okay, so put yourself in the captain's chair for a second. Your vessel is this huge engine of commerce, and it needs, well, everything. Fresh food for the crew, critical engine parts to keep running, but stopping for too long costs an absolute fortune. So how in the world do you pull off a pit stop when the racetrack just never closes?
Well, you call in your pit crew. And that's exactly what a ship chandler is. Seriously, think of them as the essential pit crew for a cargo ship. They're not just some delivery service, not at all. They're a strategic partner. Their whole mission is to get your ship exactly what it needs, right when it needs it, making sure you never ever miss a beat.
Okay, so let's get into their first big advantage, and it's a huge one: speed. Because in the world of shipping, speed isn't just about how fast your ship sails from one port to another. Nope, it's really about how little time you waste while you're in the port.
I mean, think about it. The global supply chain doesn't sleep, right? So a good ship chandler can't either. This 24/7 availability, it's not just a nice to have, it's absolutely essential. We're talking weekends, public holidays, the middle of the night. If a ship needs something critical, they have to be ready to go, no excuses. And this is where you really see the financial payoff. Every single hour a ship sits idle waiting for supplies, it's not earning money. Even worse, it could be racking up what are called demurrage fees. That's basically a penalty for overstaying your welcome in port, and they are expensive. A fast chandler is what stops that from happening. They plug that massive potential leak in your budget.
So how do they pull this off? How are they so fast? Honestly, it's pure logistical magic. First off, they're located right there at the port, so they have immediate access. They have their own dedicated launch boats, which means they can get to vessels even if they're anchored way out in the bay. It's all a carefully coordinated dance to make sure every single delivery happens right on schedule, getting the ship out on time.
But look, being fast is only half the battle, right? That brings us to the next massive advantage: getting everything, and I mean everything, you need at the right quality and the right price, all from one single trusted partner.
And the sheer range of stuff a ship needs is just mind-boggling. You've got your deck stores, like ropes and safety gear. Then there are engine stores, spare parts, lubricants. Cabin stores, linens and cleaning supplies. And of course, provisions, all the food. Fresh, frozen, dry goods, the works. Not to mention bonded stores. Can you imagine trying to source all that from a dozen different vendors in a foreign country? It'd be an absolute nightmare. A chandler just bundles it all into one simple, efficient process.
But of course, having a huge range of stuff means nothing if the quality isn't there. And a reputable chandler isn't just grabbing things off a shelf. They're operating under really strict international maritime standards. We're talking things like HACCP certification to make sure the food is stored safely, and safety equipment that's compliant with the International Maritime Organization, or IMO. It's really about delivering peace of mind along with the supplies.
And here's the real kicker. You get all of this quality without paying some crazy premium. How? Because a good local chandler taps into their established local networks. They can bypass all the high overhead and the tangled supply chains that bog down big international suppliers. So what you get is really competitive pricing without ever having to compromise on those high standards.
Okay, that brings us to their third big advantage. And honestly, this one might be the most underrated. A ship chandler isn't just a supplier. They're your expert on the ground, your personal guide through the maze of local port operations.
You see, every port has its own unique brand of bureaucracy, and Chittagong is no different. A local chandler just knows the system inside and out. They're the ones handling customs clearance, managing all the crazy paperwork, and coordinating with the port authorities. They basically take what could be a massive headache and turn it into a smooth, seamless process for you.
And this is where that deep local knowledge is just priceless. Knowing the right person to call or which form needs to be filed where, that kind of know-how can be the difference between a super quick turnaround and being stuck in port for days, just tangled up in red tape. And this kind of personalized support, it goes way beyond just dropping off some boxes. It's about finding tailored solutions just for your vessel, keeping you updated with constant communication. And it has a huge impact on the crew, too. A well-supplied, well-fed crew is a happy, more effective crew, and that translates directly into a more efficient and, frankly, a safer ship.
So, when you step back and look at the whole picture, what do you really have? Well, you've got a true one-stop solution. This isn't just about buying stuff, it's about forging a real strategic partnership.
And if you look at the breakdown of what they actually do, you'll see that providing the actual supplies is less than half the story. The other 60%? That's all complex logistics, navigating a ton of admin and customs, plus all these other essential services, like waste disposal or even minor repairs. They really do cover all the bases.
So it all really boils down to this simple promise: timely, reliable, and compliant supplies. It's about cost efficiency and making operations convenient. Or, to put it another way, it's about making an incredibly complex process feel completely hassle-free.
So, as your ship is steaming towards a bustling port like Chittagong, the real question isn't if you need help on the ground. Of course you do. The real question is, who can you trust to be your pit crew? Who can you trust to handle all that pressure and keep you moving, full steam ahead?